Good day. So we will be discussing about Republic Act number 4670. This Republic Act is entitled the Magna Carta for Public School Teachers. The reporters will be Everdoni Patricia Claire C. and Regala Zoe Allen V. So first, let's talk about Declaration of Policy or Coverage. Declaration of Policy. This Republic Act is to promote and improve social and economic status of public school teachers, their living and working conditions, their employment and career prospects in order that they may compare favorably with existing opportunities in other walks of life, attract and retain in the teaching profession more people with the proper qualifications, it being recognized that advance in education depends on the qualifications and ability of the teaching staff, and that education is an essential factor in the economic growth of the nation as a productive investment of vital importance. So, ang Republic Act na to ay para sa mga public school teachers lang. It was envisioned to provide programs for the promotion and improvement of the well-being and economic status ng mga public school teachers. This shall be applied to all public school teachers except those in the professional staff of state colleges and universities. Moreover, in this act, the term teacher shall mean to all the persons engaged in classroom teaching in any level of instruction on full-time basis, including guidance counselors, school librarians, and etc., but shall not include school nurses, school physicians, school dentists, and other school employees. So next will be recruitment and career. Recruitment and qualification with respect to the selection and appointment of teachers shall be clearly defined by the DepEd. So this is the following qualifications. For the kindergarten elementary grade, bachelor's degree in elementary education. In secondary schools, bachelor degree in education or its equivalent with a major and minor bachelor's degree in arts or science with 18 professional units. Secondary, vocational and 2 years technical courses, bachelor's degree in the field of specialization with professional units and education. And lastly, course teachers on the college level other than vocational master's degree. So, kailangan yung mga teachers, meron silang mga specializations kung saan sila mag-a-apply. Katulad na lang nung sinabi kanina na sa kindergarten, kailangan meron ka sa elementary education. In secondary naman, kailangan kung ano yung subject mo na iti-take, na kapag napasa mo yung majorship exam mo, and also napasa mo yung degree nung specific subject na ituturo mo. In vocational naman, kailangan meron kang specialization ng professional units mo nung education under that specific subject. And then especially sa mga college professors, you should have your vocational master's degree. Probationary period. When recruitment takes place after adequate training and professional preparation in any school recognized by the government, no probationary period preceding regular appointment shall be imposed if the teacher possesses the appropriate civil service eligibility. Tenure of office. Stability of employment and security of tenure shall be assured the teachers as provided under existing laws. Consent for transportation expenses, except for costs. No teacher shall be transferred without his or her consent from one station to another. Moreover, the transportation expenses of the teacher and his family shall be paid by the government. So in this consent for transfer or transportation expenses, binibigyan ng emphasis na dapat ang isang teacher kapag nilipat ng destination, kailangan aware siya or kailangan alam niya kung saan siya and may approval niya kung pwede siya or hindi. And if pwede siya or pumayag siya, all the expenses for the teacher or his or her family, kailangan bayad yon ng government since under sila ng public schools. Code of Professional Conduct for Teachers. Within 6 months from the approval of this act, the Secretary of Education will provide a copy. A copy of the code shall be furnished each teacher. In addition, due to the possibility of inadequate fiscal resources of DepEd, at least 3 copies of the same code shall be deposited with the office of the school principal or head teacher, where they may be accessible for use by the teachers. Section 8 would be Safeguards in Disciplinary Procedure. Each teachers shall enjoy equitable safeguards at each stage of any disciplinary procedure and shall have, first, right to be informed in writing of the charges. Second, right to full access to the evidence in the case. Third, right to defend himself and to be defended by a representative of his or her choice. A time will be given to the teacher to prepare for his defense. Fourth and lastly, right to appeal to clearly designated authorities. No publicity shall be given to any disciplinary action being taken against a teacher during the pendency of this case. Section 9. Administrative charges shall be heard initially by a committee composed of the corresponding school superintendent of the division or a duly authorized representative who should at least have the rank of a division supervisor, where the teacher belongs as a chairman, a representative of the local. Also, the committee is expected to submit findings and recommendations to the director of the public schools within 30 days from the termination of the hearings. Section 10. No discriminations. There shall be no discriminations in the entrance to teaching profession during exercise and in the termination of the service. Section 11. Married teachers. The proper authorities shall take all steps to enable married couples, both of whom are public school teachers, to be employed with the same school. Academic freedom. This is Section 12. Teachers shall enjoy academic freedom in the discharge of their professional duties, particularly with regard to teaching and classroom methods. So now, moving forward, we will talk about hours of work and remuneration. Section 13. Teaching hours. A teaching in actual classroom instruction shall not be required to render more than 6 hours of classroom teaching a day. However, where the exigencies of the service so require, any teacher may be required to render more than 6 hours but not exceeding 8 hours of actual classroom teaching a day upon payment of additional compensation at the same rate as his regular remuneration plus at least 25% of his basic pay. Section 14. Additional compensation. Any outside activities and any other activities outside of what is defined as normal duties of any teacher shall be paid an additional compensation of at least 25% of his regular remuneration. Section 16. Section 15. Criteria for salaries. First, they shall compare favorably with those paid in other occupations requiring equivalent or similar qualifications, training, and abilities. Second, they shall ensure teachers a reasonable standard for life for themselves and their families. Third and last, They shall be properly graded so as to recognize the fact that certain positions require higher qualifications and greater responsibility than others, provided that the general scale shall be such that relation between the lowest and the highest salaries paid in the profession will be reasonable order. Section 16. Salary Scale. Salary scales of teachers shall provide for a gradual progression from a minimum to a maximum salary by means of regular increments, granted automatically after 3 years, provided that the efficiency rating of the teacher concerned is at least satisfactory. The progression from the minimum to the maximum of the salary scale shall not extend over a period of 10 years. Section 17. Equality in salary scales. The salary scales of teachers whose salaries are appropriated by a city, municipal district, or provincial government shall not less than those provided for teachers of the national government.
Alright, Ebardoni. Section 18. Cost of living allowance. The teacher's salaries shall at least keep pace with the rise in cost of living by the payment of cost of living allowance, which shall automatically follow changes in the cost of living index. In here, the Secretary of Education shall, in consultation with the proper government entities, recommend to the Congress at least annually the appropriation of the necessary funds for the cost of living allowances of teachers employed by the national government. Upon the determination of the cost of living, it shall be approved by the President of the Philippines and be binded on the city, municipal, or provincial government for the purposes of calculating the cost of living allowances of teachers under its employ. Section 19. Special hardship allowances. In areas in which teachers are exposed to hardships such as difficulty in commuting to the place of work, or other hazards peculiar to the place of employment as determined by the Secretary of Education, they shall be compensated at least 25% of their monthly salary. Section 20. Salaries to be paid in legal tender. Salaries of teachers shall be paid in legal tender of the Philippines or its equivalent in checks or treasury warrants, provided, however, that such checks or treasury warrants shall be cashable in any national, provincial, city, or municipal treasurer's office or any banking institutions operating under the laws of the Republic of the Philippines. Section 21. Deductions prohibited. In here, no person shall make any deduction whatsoever from the salaries of teachers except under specific authority of law authorizing such deductions, provided, however, that upon written authority executed by the teacher concerned, 1. Lawful dues and fees owing to the Philippine Public School Teachers Association, and 2. Premiums properly due on insurance policies shall be considered deductible. Section 22. Medical examination and treatment. Compulsory medical examination shall be provided free of charge for all teachers before they take up teaching and shall be repeated not less than once a year during the teacher's professional life. Where medical examination showed that medical treatment or hospitalization is necessary, same shall be provided free by the government entity paying the salary of the teachers. In regions where there is a scarcity of medical facilities, teachers may obtain elsewhere the necessary medical care with the right to be reimbursed for their traveling expenses by the government entity concerned in the first paragraph of this section. Section 23. Compensation for injuries. Teachers shall be protected against the consequences of employment injuries in accordance with the existing laws. The effect of the physical and nervous strain on the teacher's health shall be recognized as a compensable occupational disease in accordance with the existing laws. Section 24. Study leave. In addition to the leave privileges now enjoyed by the teachers in the public school, they shall be entitled to study leave not exceeding 1 school year after 7 years of service. Such leave shall be granted in accordance with the schedule set by the Department of Education. During the period of such leave, teachers shall be entitled to at least 60% of their monthly salary, provided, however, that no teacher shall be allowed to accumulate more than 1 year of study leave unless he needs an additional semester to finish his thesis for a graduate study in education or allied courses. Further, no compensation shall be due to the teacher after the first year of such leave. In all cases, the study leave period shall be counted for seniority and pension purposes. The compensation allowed for 1 year study leave as herein provided shall be subject to the condition that the teacher takes the regular study load and passes at least 75% of his course. Study leave of more than 1 year may be permitted by the Secretary of Education, but without compensation. Section 25. Indefinite leave. An indefinite sick of leave of absence shall be granted to teachers when the nature of the illness demands a long treatment that will exceed 1 year or at least. Section 26. Salary increase upon retirement. Public school teachers having fulfilled the age and the service requirements of the applicable retirement laws shall be given one range salary raise upon retirement, which shall be the basis of the computation of the lump sum of the retirement pay and the monthly benefits thereafter. Section 27. Freedom to organize. Public school teachers shall have the right to freely and without previous authorization both to establish and to join organizations of their choosing, whether local or national, to further and defend their interests. Section 28. Discrimination against teachers prohibited. The rights established in the immediately preceding section shall be exercised without any interference or coercion. It shall be unlawful for any person to commit any acts of discrimination against teachers which are calculated to a. Make the employment of a teacher subject to the condition that he shall not join an organization or shall relinquish membership in an organization. b. To cause the dismissal of or otherwise prejudice a teacher by reason of his membership in an organization or because of his participation in organization activities outside school hours or with the consent of the proper school authorities within school hours. And lastly, to prevent him from carrying out the duties laid upon him by his position in the organization or to penalize him for an action undertaken in that capacity. Section 29. National Teachers Organization. National Teachers Organization shall be consulted in the formulation of national educational policies and professional standards and in formulation of national policies governing the social security of the teachers. Section 30. Rules and Regulation. The Secretary of Education shall formulate and prepare the necessary rules and regulations to implement the provisions of this Act. The rules and regulations issued pursuant to this section shall take effect 30 days after publication in a newspaper of general circulation and by such other means as the Secretary of Education deems reasonably sufficient to give interested parties general notice of such issuance. Section 31. Budgetary Estimates. The Secretary of Education shall submit to Congress annually the necessary budgetary estimates to implement the provisions of the Act concerning the benefits herein granted to public school teachers under the employment of the national government. Section 32. Penal Provision. A person who shall willfully interfere with, restrain, or coerce any teachers in the exercise of his rights guaranteed by this Act, or who shall in any other manner commit any act to defeat any of the provisions of this Act shall upon conviction be punished by a fine of not less than 100 pesos nor more than 1,000 pesos or by imprisonment in the discretion of the court. If the offender is a public official, the court shall order his dismissal from the government service. Section 33. Repealing Clause. All acts or parts of acts, executive orders, and their implementary rules inconsistent with the provisions of this Act are hereby repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. Section 34. Separability Clause. If any provision of this Act is declared invalid, the remainder of this Act or any provision shall not be affected thereby, shall remain in force and in effect. And lastly, Section 35. This Act shall take effect upon its approval. And this law was approved June 18, 1966.